What would you do if your family needed you to come home and help with their struggling business? What if you already were running your own bakery and cafe, which was your passion in life? What would you do? Today we will hear from a woman who never imagined herself running a large and complex family business that her father started. She was happily running her own bakery cafe business in 2015 when she had to make the tough decision to close her own business so that she could revive another. She also had to learn what it was like to lead a business in an industry that's dominated by men. Hi and welcome to the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, and I'm your host Krista Goon. In episode 10 today, you will hear from Pheng, a female CEO in an industry that's extremely male-dominated. Pheng is the CEO of Berjayapak Sdn Bhd in Penang, Malaysia, and she is in the business of providing wood packaging solutions such as pallets, crates, and boxes to multinational corporations. While it is a multi-million ringgit industry, it is also a tough business filled with challenges at every turn. I enjoyed this episode as Pheng is very forthcoming about the hardships of the business. She didn't know much about the wood packaging business and learned her way up to helm the business, now one of the fastest rising companies in Malaysia. I hope you will enjoy her story. Welcome to the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, and today I'm here with Pheng of Berjayapak Sdn Bhd. Pheng, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Krista, for having me here.
So Pheng, how have you been, and how's life and how's work?
I've been very busy, especially ever since the MCO started. Because our industry fallen into essential needs for the country. So we began with the first phase of our MCO. We begin with 25 workforce, and then later second phase, 50%. Then only third phase, we will enter into 100%. So imagine we are only one and only packaging company that have the permit to run, to sustain the whole industry in Penang. And even other parts of Malaysia call us up wanting our support. So I was very busy. The whole company was very busy serving the customer, and at the same time to put a SOP in place for the safety of our workers and our customers and our suppliers.
So it seems that you have been actually very busy throughout this whole MCO period.
Yes,
and not having any rest, not like the rest of us.
No, because this is a pandemic that it didn't happen before, so we didn't know what to expect, right? So with the SOP in place, it was like a lot of work, a lot of extra. We need to be cautious. Therefore, we put in a lot of measurement to take care of our employees, especially because we don't want the whole company, to shut down because of contractions of the virus.
Okay, yeah. So maybe let's go backtrack a little bit and let's talk about you as a person. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am a mentor or a counselor. I used to be some time ago, before I came into Berjayapak. I am Mulan to my parents, so-called. My father always say that I'm his Mulan. I am a baker. I'm a cook. Love to bake and love to cook for the family. I'm a companion in life to hold hand with. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. So that was who I am, I'm still even though I'm holding, helming Berjayapak. So in my free time, I still bake, I still cook, I still have my family over. Yeah, so I'm still mentoring people, even at this stage. Yeah.
Okay, so I heard that story that initially you wanted to own a cafe or bakery. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
How did that come about, and is that still your first passion?
That has always been my first passion. I came back to Penang. Penang is such a nice place, right? You have the sea and the beaches, right? I was thinking to open up my cafe, start with a few things, and then roll into an institute to teach baking and cake decorating. So that was actually what I did in KL in my leisure time. So when I came back to Penang, I actually opened up a cafe selling the local delights, love to bake, especially, bread. So given, if I have chance, that I want to make it come true again.
When was this cafe? When did you open this cafe, or when do you run this cafe?
2015.
That was the year you came back.
Yeah, January. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it only lasted 3 months before some tragedy happened in the family that called for my attention to go into Berjayapak.
Okay, so maybe that is also a good time to tell us a little bit about how you got into Berjayapak, right? That will be a good way for us to start where you are, right?
Yes. Actually, I came back and I started the cafe. So we were running the cafe for almost 3 months down the road. And then my third uncle actually passed on. Berjayapak was founded by my dad and few of his and with his sibling and few of his nephew. There were 4 of them. When the chairman of the company passed on, the whole company actually limbo in the air. There were no leadership in the company, so I can see my dad, very worrisome for the whole thing. Business was going downhill, and they don't even have a healthy profit margin, So I got worried. Of course, I have to worry for my dad because I was so worried that he would be forced into bankruptcy. So that called for my attention. And,
Are you the eldest? Are you the eldest?
Oh, yes, I'm the eldest. Yeah. Okay. So spoke to my siblings. None of them think that they can help my dad because it's not so easy. Partly I can help my dad was because along the journey when I came back to Penang off and on, I actually helped in the company. Long time ago, like I forgot how long, maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Oh, no, I think it's even longer than that. Along the way, when the company was doing the ISO, I came in to help a bit. Then I depart and then I went somewhere else, So this coming back to Penang. So when I saw the whole company limbo in the air with the fear that my father would be forced into bankruptcy, so I decided to jump in. And what I had in my thought was just to clean up the company, all the messiness, clean up, make it tidy up, and make it proper, and then see whether we can sell the company. That was the initial intention. Yeah.
So that was the first thought that came to your mind when you wanted to help Berjayapak.
Yes. Yeah.
And what happened after that? And you went into the company, right? You officially went into the company to help.
Yes, I officially, it means that I, actually fork out money to buy the share and become the shareholder so that, I do have certain rights and say in the company. This is how I went in. So I went in as a shareholder and as a director. So initially I was being placed as a sales director in the company. Yeah. So this is how I began. 2015, June 15.
Okay, you still remember that date? Clearly.
Oh, very, very clear, because that was an intentional choice that I had to make that time.
When you were going into that company, did you have any fears or worries or felt nervous about going in?
Oh, you bet. A lot of fear. But, when life pushes you to such a corner, you have to put fear aside. You have to face your fear. Because I only have one dad, we all of us only have one dad, right?
Yeah.
So without hesitation that I jump in and I take up the whole responsibility. Yeah. And I hold my dad's hand. I say that, we will work together.
Okay. So when you went in to do sales, was that something that you enjoyed?
Not really. I'm by nature, I'm quite a shy person, and I keep things to myself most of the time. So when I went in, the first 6 months is actually before I actually went out and do sales. The first 6 months, I took time to understand the industry. The downfall what's the gap that I have to close, and to understand the people, to understand the customers. So I still remember the first 6 months, I went to jungle a lot of times. I went to Terengganu, I went to Kelantan, even had an overseas trip earlier on to understand, our raw materials.
So it means like to understand the timber and the wood that you were using for making your pallets and boxes and crates. Okay. Yeah. So after that, only you went out and did your actual selling.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So after that, then you slowly got. Can I say that you fell in love with the industry, or can I not? Or was it not?
I wouldn't say, if you want to talk about the love level, I still love cooking and baking more than this industry. Okay. Food excites me, vegetable excite me. Okay. But I guess wood, I'm not looking at a piece of pallet or a piece of box. I'm looking at timber. I'm looking at forest. That is where I fell in love with. I really love forests. The smell of the forest, the smell of the dirt really excite me and make me want to take care of them.
I see. Yeah. But you still fell in love. It's just that it's not with the finished product. It's just that when it was in this natural form.
Yes. Yeah.
So I also know from you that when you went into Berjayapak, the company was not doing that well financially, and it was actually in debt. I thought that story was really fascinating, and perhaps you could also let us know a little bit, recount a little bit of that, and how. To me, I think that story is really fascinating.
Yeah, when I first went into the company, it was 2015, June 15. I look at the P&L. No, you see, I'm someone who is very bad at accounting and finance. So when I read the P&L, it number one, first of all, I look at the liability. The liability is so high, 12 million debts. But where to begin with to further understand, how can I close the gap? So immediately I actually look for a mentor that can help me understand numbers, so that I can face my fear. I can face the risk, knowing what I'm handling, So I went out and I approached mentor, hire them to hold my hand so that, make the data talk to me. Yeah. So this is how I went in. A lot of fear. Who wouldn't be, right? Such a high liability to hold on. But for me is that liability is one thing. Life has pushed me to a corner that I have to take care of my debt. So let's do it together. Let's face the risk and let's let the data speak to us and handle from there. Yeah.
So in that case, when you hired a mentor to help you understand the P&L of the company, and how long did it take you to work through that, or that process?
Okay, the first mentor didn't work out well, because he is actually someone very renowned in Malaysia. He had a whole wealth of knowledge. I have no doubt in him. However, I think come to teaching part, he doesn't know how to impart the knowledge to me. And being me, I would not ask things that I don't know, right? So you don't know what you don't know, so you don't ask. So waiting for him to feedback, to give me the input. So that didn't happen. So I moved on. I ended that first relationship with my mentor. Then I moved on to the second one. And I really knew it for the second one. She understands my needs. She understands my fear. And she break down all the numbers for me to see. And she explained to me, this part is cost of goods sold. This part is GP. This part is your admin cost. And this part is the cost of goods sold, that you have to look into all the little things. And you have to look at your cash flow, your balance sheet, your income statement. So, I would say that shortened a lot of learning process. Can you imagine if I keep everything to myself and thinking that I can read on my own? I think that would actually delay the whole process. So actually having a good mentor or a good coach is very important. and find someone that can work and understand your needs. That is very important.
Okay. So I guess that, with the second mentor or coach that you hired actually worked in your favor and helped you see the numbers clearly compared to the first one.
Yeah. And I would say that she made me comfortable with myself, my stupidity. Let me put in that, because when it comes to accounting or financial report, I would ask the same question again and again and again. And my coach never put off by my, so-called slowness in understanding the numbers, like the concept of P&L, the concept of the financial statements. So she will take her time very patiently, remind me again, and then pull me back to the initial of the conversation. You remember we did that, and that was in our conversation. That's why we arrived here. And I think that is very important, because someone that you can work with is like you can breathe in the air naturally, and she will hold your hand and she will not look down or talk down to you. I think that makes me very comfortable and gain my confidence from there.
Okay. So then in that case, let me just ask you a question. What do you study in university?
I actually have a master's degree in economics.
Okay.
And during my studies in university, there were 3 subjects that I hate the most. Okay. The first one is accounting. The second one was finance. That was undergraduate. So when it comes to master degree, I have this economic, which I hate the most. I struggle very much, we call it what? Econometrics. So these are the 3 subjects that I'm very bad at.
So I guess life has a way of putting you back where you don't like it.
It was a nightmare, when I first, on board on Berjayapak, and that's the first thing that I have to understand is like recall back all the nightmare, when I was studying in university. Yeah.
But I think that's also probably the reason why your dad kind of told you the problem and asked you to help us, because say, hey, my daughter has a master's in economics. Maybe that was like, she can shine a light on the issues and problems that we have.
Yes, this is actually a lot of parents, they would think the same, actually, thinking that I send my children to overseas and now they come back with a degree. Oh, they are very capable now. But a lot of time it's not that case, Coming out from university is a piece of blank paper, right? And, young graduates still need to find their way to specialize in one area or to find their interest, right? To understand things. So for me, it's like when I read through the P&L, when my, coach hold my hand and gone through the financial statements, then things make more sense. Oh, then I recall back, why I had so much of struggle. So now when it makes more sense to me, I wish that back then when I was studying in university, I have a real life application that I can use to make my understanding in a more, in a better sense.
Yeah. Either they're a very good teacher, right? A teacher that will show you the actual mistakes you're making or the actual problems that you have studying that particular subject.
Yeah.
So that's to me, I think that's also indicative of a lot of things that, like, what you say is true. When you come out of university, you think you know everything just because you have a degree, but that may not be the case. And then when you start work or when you start doing things outside practical knowledge, actually is going to show you a lot more, right?
Correct. And you will definitely learn it, when you go through a real scenario where you have to put the number, like the production number come up, you have to put it here. The raw material you buy, you have to put it in this part of P&L. And the process will bring you through to understand it, very clearly. Yeah.
So now I want to talk about how did you, after the 6 months, you studied all your timber, you've gone on your trips to understand about the trees and the raw mat. So what did you do after that? So you went out selling?
Yes. So I still remember when I was just on board, two things actually happened very interestingly. I always say that I learned a lot from the very beginning, how life put me through. So to go into the business is one thing. So once I was in business, I remember 3 months on the board when I was still studying the timber, and when I was still going to Terengganu, Kelantan, to understand the forest. We had one big case with a pharmaceutical company. Our container of pellets reached Hong Kong with fungus. So to cut the whole story short, we were fined. We were asked to compensate 60,000. That was my first case. 3 months down. 3 months. Into Berjayapak, that happened. That happened. So I was trying very hard to understand the timber, the moisture content, the relationship between fungus, borers to the timber nature and the moisture content in the timber. But at the same time, life always gives us opportunity. So when that happened, we compensated 60,000, and that time we still didn't have, sales.
You're still in the red, right?
We were still in the red, right? Still not making money. Profit margin was not healthy. But I had one new customer facing the same problem with their existing supplier. So they were asking me, how to solve the fungus problem. Now they have containers, on the sea, reaching the port, in overseas, what to do, And I remember when the second, the 60,000 we compensated, then 1 month down the road, this new opportunity came, this new customer. So I remember that time I was in US and attending a conference. So in that conference, actually, I spoke to a few professionals. They are expert in treating fungus. They are expert in pellets and container industry. So I just apply whatever I learned from the conferences, wherever I talk to the people, handling the product itself. I put everything together, and we managed to help the customers solve the fungus problem. And from there on, we also open ourselves out to bring in more raw materials, come in different types of material. So I would say, it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity that life slapped us with a compensation of 60,000 fine. Life give me even a better business, more than 60,000, manifold, So something that made me fall is also the very particular thing that made me stand up and make the history. Yeah, make my the growth, exponential from there onwards.
Then when you were doing that, what was how was the team like? Because I'm sure you're not only just doing marketing and selling, you also had to lead the people in the company. Was that a difficult, or was that how was that process like? Because I'm not too sure, because I know it's a lot of the people in the company probably were with the company for some time, right?
Yes.
And then here you come in as a technically, yes, you have shares in the company, but you're also related to some of the people in the company.
Yes. Yeah. So I still remember that. This is what I have to share with you. My HR manager, she was in the company a few months, I think 6 months or 1 year ahead of me. So when she knew that I am coming in, this new director on board, and it's a lady, and the first day when I arrived at the company, she heard my high heel coming in. So he in her heart, she told herself, there comes the lady boss, someone born and with silver spoon in her mouth, coming in to man the company. So that is what some of the employee had their opinion on me. But to me, it's totally different. This is some difficult things that I have to handle, right? It's a hot bun in my hand. So people very difficult in the beginning. But yet, if you feel to help people seeing who you are, then it will be very difficult journey. So one thing that I did for myself was that I am humble enough to ask a lot of questions. Why what, how, when, where, a lot of questions to seek understanding in their position, why they do things like that. Why you choose this particular time, where did you get that thing, how did you do that? So to gain understanding from their perspective, and also understanding from my own perspective, and then able to go down to the field, to the production floor, roll up my sleeve and work together with the employees, right? So gain their respect, and at the same time telling people that I'm not that bossy. I'm here so that we are a team. We have to work through all the hiccups, right? And we have to align as a team. Then only we can conquer the outside world, right? So I tell my team, we have 2 hands, right? 10 fingers. If we let the 10 fingers, in the air, this 10 finger is everywhere. But if we put the 10 fingers together, this one becomes a feast, and this is for us to fight the outsider, not the inside. And I think they listen to that, So we work together as a team, trying to gain understanding. It takes time. It's not immediately 6 months people will understand you, but eventually people will see your heart. Eventually, when the business come in, people get excited, right? When we overcome the fungus issue, people get excited and get encouraged. So it was a journey, a lot of encouragement, a lot of seeking understanding from each other, a lot of no judgment at all. So I would say that kind of a leadership, right, to serve the people, really helped me to gain respect from the rest of the staff in the family also, and in the company.
Because prior to that, they never had a lady boss, I would assume.
No.
So they were scared of you. When
I think people have different thinking, when they see ladies, they always think that lady, it's like
more meticulous.
Yeah,
more meticulous, more detailed.
Yeah. And then, I used to work in healthcare industry. So the way I wear myself also, I think, some people will form opinion on me, because back then when I worked in hospital, it was very proper. I have jacket, and I have my, stocking, legging. So when I first went to Berjayapak, I have my stocking on, my legging on. So they were like, this lady is very, very formal.
Very corporate.
Yes. So slowly, when I, long enough, I do away with all the legging and stocking and jacket. And, so people will see the other side of me. Yeah.
Okay. So you reference your time in the corporate world, in healthcare. You didn't speak much about that just now. Maybe you want to talk about that before the baking, before the cafe, right?
Cafe has been all the time there. Since my teenage years, I love baking, I love cooking. Since, that's why when you ask me, the first passion is always baking and cooking. Now, healthcare was back in year 2007, was hired by this Australian company, healthcare company, to handle their international patients in Kuala Lumpur. So I was stationed in a few hospitals. So I take care of their international business. I take care of the international patients that come into Kuala Lumpur to seek medical attention. It was about a very short period of time. I worked in hospital for 3 years or 4 years, something like that. That's all. Yeah. So I didn't talk much about that because it was very short compared to my passion in baking, which I really go and teach and mentor high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were teaching. You were actually teaching people how to bake.
Yes, I took it very seriously. I was instructor, and beside that, I chose a few schools all around in Klang Valley that I actually went in and talked to their headmaster about baking and cake decorating curriculum. And I told the headmaster that how it would benefit the children, the kids. So a couple of schools actually opened up for me to actually, I established together, with a group of students and the teacher, we established baking and cake decorating club in the school. One of the school is actually Sri Sempurna in Kuala Lumpur. I did that for 2 years. So every week, I think 2 times, I will go and have run the classes with the students. So I have junior class and I have senior class, 30 of them. So it's for about 2 years, I think. So it was a lot of fun, to develop the, what do you call that?
The syllabus,
the lesson,
the
syllabus, the syllabus, and to explain the ratio between the butter and the flour and things like that, and different types of flour and how the chemical reaction when you mix all the things together and at the temperature, So that was very fun to me, and I love that dearly, If I can, I will continue to do that. Yeah.
But I think you probably would. Since you kept going back to your first passion, I'm sure sooner or later down the road in your life, you'll probably redo that again.
Yeah, I probably will. And also mentoring is I have a passion in mentoring teenagers actually. So besides, baking and decorating, I also joined NGO, going to school to mentor high school kids. So I also went to community, I went to Pantai Dalam, Bangsa, I went to Selayang community. So every Saturday, Sunday, I'm kind of busy running around to communities to mentor the kids, to run program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask you this question. Knowing what you know now, right? What do you wish someone told you when you first got into Berjayapak? I mean, like, if you could tell a younger you some advice or some key things.
Okay. I thought about that, I think back then I had a lot of fear and I didn't want to actually face it. What happened is that, I in between, when I was in KL and I came back Penang for a short time and then I went back to KL again and then I went overseas and, running all around. There was a short period of time. My dad actually wanted me to come back to work for Berjayapak. I just didn't like it and I had a lot of fear to work in Berjayapak. But this time coming back to Berjayapak, of course, is the circumstances. So I would say that I wish someone tell me how to handle fear. Fear is not absence of courage or anything like that. Actually, to handle the fear, now I have a better way to tell people. You have to conquer your fear. By how? You should understand the subject matter thoroughly. And have an in-depth understanding on and become the expert in the subject and understand the actual risk. And then you must have a clear mission and objective, right? How to handle the risk and what you see from that risk. And then you understand the constraint and resources that you have to work through your fear. And you progress one small step at a time. And by the time you turn back, hey, the fear is gone. You understand? The whole process. So it's not like, fear is absence of courage. So I need to go and find courage. It's not like that. It's that you have to handle it, like handle the bull, right? Taking the horn. So this is the risk. This is the fear. I do not know. That's why I'm in fear. So I need to understand my fear by knowing the subject matter thoroughly, become the expert, right? And then I have to set my mission, my objective, and then I have to look at the constraint and the resources that I have, and what can I do about it with the resources that I have. With the constraint that I have, how am I supposed to go and remove the constraint, right? So one step at a time, then very soon when you are so busy working on that, you forget about your fear. You just move on. And then you achieve, a milestone. Then when you look back, hey, where is the fear? It has gone.
Yeah. So it seems that if you have a plan, a proper plan, and also your steps of how you want to overcome those the things that you want to do. At least you are moving forward rather than just sitting and thinking about all those things that you can't control, right?
You can't control, so you have to face it.
I like that answer. I think that's a very structured way of working through your problem.
And fear comes in stages, and different fear, different season. Like this pandemic, who is not in fear? I'm also in fear this pandemic. But what can you do about it, right? So look at the things that you have to do. Putting up the SOP, right? Taking the temperature, make sure that there's a social distancing. Make sure that everybody observe, all the parameters that are being drawn up by government and given to us. So beside that, you have to think, what if tomorrow we had to shut down? What can you do about it? So do you have enough reserve to go about for 2 weeks shutdown? And what are you supposed to tell your customer? So you have to face that. And there's a lot of things, there's no answer. Nobody can give you answer. And just don't be discouraged, because something like this pandemic is so big. It's not easy. Everybody live in
unprecedented, right? No one even thought of it like 6 months ago.
Correct. And you cannot say that, I have, same instances happen, a few years ago or 10, 20 years ago, and that can be a reference. This pandemic has no reference at all, right? Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about is because in your business is actually a very, I would say generally it's a very male-dominated business. And you're a woman, all right? And you're a woman CEO and you're running it.
Yeah.
So how is it like? Is it like now? I mean, compared to the time you started a few years ago and now, has there been more women coming into the industry, or it's still very male-dominated?
I would say it's still very male-dominated. I came across very few women in this industry. I wouldn't say there's none, but you can count with a finger, 5 fingers. This is how the industry is, because it's a very rough industry. It's very dirty, very noisy. It's not easy, like when I say I go to Kelantan and Terengganu, nobody can imagine what I gone through, right? So let me bring you in. When I go into a sawmill, I have to go through the jungle, reach to the sawmill, or some of the sawmill is not in the jungle, just next to the big road, and you have to walk through the muddy, field, and all the sawdust flying everywhere. Very hard work, people sawing, workers sawing timber, log, and you have to talk to, their language. And so it's not like working in university. It's not like working in hospital in an aircon and well-mannered, environment. So this is something, And I still remember when I went to one of the country, I put up my hand, want to shake hand. The other party just didn't even want to look at me and didn't even want to shake my hand. It was such an embarrassed moment for me. But I have to swallow it. I have to swallow it in front of people, right? So I don't take it personally. I don't make it hurt myself. I think there's nothing in me that I have to feel ashamed. I think that has a lot to say about that individual who didn't want to giving me back a handshake. So we have to don't let our emotion mixed up in ourselves when we face things like that.
So then let's talk about myths and misconceptions about this industry. I'm sure you in the industry for a while now, you probably would have heard a lot of that, right? What are some of the myths? What are some of the things that you wish people knew about your industry and not take it for granted?
Yeah, because when I look at this industry, I won't talk about only pallet. I won't also only talk about box and crate. I talk about it. We are in a wood-based packaging industry. I would say packaging. I wouldn't specifically nail down to only pallet or box and crate. So we are in this packaging industry. I'm talking about moving things around, around the globe. It's not moving from A to B to C, and this A to B to C is worldwide. So I'm looking at from a packaging point of view, a bigger sense. So I have a bigger mission to fulfill. I need to make sure that whatever platform that we provide, it has to be safe enough for my customer to put their goods on it. And their goods can be very expensive, in millions, the value. So I have to make sure that all the packaging is intact, the design, the raw material that we chose to fulfill the mission, and the way that we pack it, we strap it, the mode of transport that carry the whole thing. So, we have to study the whole thing. So for me, I'm not only looking at just one pallet I'm selling, one product or another product, and we have 6 products. I'm looking at the totality of the whole packaging industry. So when you are looking in that, then you will discover actually there are some female also interested in that particular packaging industry. Because when you talk about pallet, taking hammer or air gun, by nature, women, we are weaker in our strength compared to men, right? So we don't compare things like that. It definitely is to our disadvantage. But when you talk about packaging and you put the design and understanding of the raw mat, and then there is another level already. It's a higher level view, right? And we should look at things like that. So I saw female actually studying packaging in one of the institute in United States, and not only one. In fact, I came across several. So they take things, the knowledge to a higher level. We don't just look at the pallet itself or box and crate itself. Yeah.
So it's not just the end product or what is it, but it's the overall.
Correct. We are talking about total solution provider, right? Yeah.
When you mentioned just now that you enjoyed going into the jungle, I say jungle, in Malaysia it's jungle, but yes, because you like nature a lot. I would suppose also this concept of for reforestation and deforestation are very close to your heart.
Yeah.
Right? So could you talk a little bit about this?
Yes. The forestation or forestry care in Malaysia, I would say what I've seen, because I traveled to a few countries. I traveled to Europe to look at their forests. I traveled down to New Zealand to look at their forests. It's different. In Malaysia, we are so blessed with a lot of sun and rain. The tree in our forests are all very good timber, and they have a lot of different species. And they do have what do you call that? Like a replantation program. It's not replantation; they call it forestry care program. So that to make sure that the forest, replenish before it is being run out, right? So our government do have for that a particular forestry program, right, to replenish the forest. But what I see is that they don't have a specific tree or timber grown to support the packaging industry. This is where our difficulty is. Whereas what I've seen in, like, let's say New Zealand, it's very well planned. They have this replantation program for their pine wood. Acres and acres of land are replenished according to different stages. So they replant this big plot of trees for 20 years. They'll harvest, and then they'll move on to replant another few, and so the cycle is 20 years here, replant, then here come another 20 years. So that's a cycle, and in New Zealand the program is very well, and the tree itself, the density is narrower because they are more or less same species, softwood. Whereas the timber in Malaysia is different type of density, and all are mostly a hardwood, So when it comes to packaging industry, we rely on the resources from the forest that give us a lot of headache. Then some of the resources, not only from natural forests, some of the resources is actually from forest plantation, meaning they have the forest replant for use, whether it's in construction or furniture or packaging industry. But that forest plantation is quite a small percentage in Malaysia compared to the natural forest that the government is taking care of. So I would say that we have to be very responsible when we come to use the resources from the forest. We have to make sure that whatever resources that we take from the forest, it is from it is replenished back properly through a program run by government or run by private. It depends on the country.
Okay. So what frustrates you most about that? I guess that would be like there are parts of it which not very, how should I say, does not follow certain rules and guidelines that I would say, right?
Yes. Usually government have very good policy. Like our Malaysian government have very good policy to take care of the forest. But I would say that sometimes the execution part is not properly run. So that is the downfall. Yeah. So it's very important, those that carry out the mandate to run the program, to execute the plan the government have in place, it's very important. If the execution is not right, then we'll see deforestation, illegal logging, things like that actually happen. We read it in newspaper. This is what happened when the execution part is lack.
Okay. So then let me just go back a little bit to I'd like to hear more of your personal story actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because all this while I know that you are someone who enjoys baking, enjoys cooking, enjoys teaching and mentoring, right? And then in that way, I also see that you have, how should I say, you have more to you than just the CEO, than being a CEO. Of course, being a CEO is what you do right now. But I'm sure there are other areas that you want to explore, even for yourself. Is there any specific thing that you want to do? I mean, presently or even in the future?
Presently, I have goals for my company. It's a succession plan for myself. For my position, and also to bring the company to another stage of height we want to do. And if moving on, I would like to go back to NGO. I would like to go back to the circle because I always go back to the circle of teenagers or young children like that, because to me they hold a special place in my heart. Because when we want to nurture a good adult, you start from the seeds. You start when they are young, when they are 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, when they hit their puberty, and they need a lot of guidance. You have to mentor kids when they, in that stage, in that very fragile stage, so that they will turn out to be a good adult, a responsible one, right? So they always hold a very special place in my heart, young kids. The other kids that hold a very special place in my heart is the born handicapped children, because they had no choice, to be born in that way. And often in the Asian country, what I see is that you have a kid that is handicapped, the parents feel very hopeless, don't know where to get help. And what I see, because I stay in overseas for a lengthy of years, in overseas country like United States, even Australia, New Zealand, they have good help, a good care system from the government to care for the handicapped. However, Malaysia, I don't see that. Maybe there is, but I don't see it yet, to help the handicapped to become independent, emotionally independent, financially independent, so this group of people always hold very dear in my heart. So moving on, I would want myself to involve in works like that.
Yeah. See. Okay, then let's now talk about the business. So what do you have planned for Berjayapak in the coming, probably 6 these days? We can 6 months to 1 year.
Yeah. In fact, I actually in the midst of doing our 5 years plan. Because of the pandemic, things change a lot. So I'm in the midst of doing these 5 year plans, and a lot of foundation we already built, and I'm building on it. So what I want to see Berjayapak is that I want to have ourselves involved in upstream, where we can conquer all the obstacles we are having with raw materials. So we will conquer I would like to build up the upstream part on the raw mat, so that, because currently Berjayapak itself, we are big enough. We are using a lot of raw materials, so we have to be very cautious and responsible to the environment on the amount of woods that we use. So by handling the upstream, the raw mat, so we can be responsible on the wastage, right? We can control on the wastage and turn it into downstream some product that we can use, and then have it built into pallet, box, and crate. Not only depend on the timber from the forest. What I'm trying to say here is that we are looking at the timber, utilize every single part of the timber, make it into the product that we can use in packaging industry. So this is what I want to do. Beside timber, we are looking into many engineering woods to make into packaging materials. So we can salvage one waste to another thing that the other business sector can use.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is for Berjayapak, right? So then now I want to ask you maybe something about yourself personally, lah. What have you discovered about yourself in terms of either strengths or weaknesses? And have you found something different or something that's changed within you after all this couple of years running the business?
I would say I find myself quite resilient, actually. There was, 5 years journey in Berjayapak. There were a few pivotal moments that were quite scary for me. But I found myself kind of master in handling fear. For example, going to Vietnam is a big thing for us. Going to Vietnam, into a country, first of all, it's a communist country. Second of all, it's a country that speaks different languages. They have their own law and regulations, right? It's kind of strange, right? And to go there, and successfully establish the manufacturing plant there. And now we have, about 40, 50 workers there. When I look back the journey, I quite resilient, in a sense, to take the whole team together, to
just go and establish it.
Yes. I am. My weakness, people always say that my heart is very soft. They always say that, you go to Lei Ping and then you say like that, and then she become very soft, but it's not so. For me, if you talk about being graceful or being, in the situation, being right and what to say that, or love people, which one comes first? For me, I would say love people first, then we deal with the issue. I'm not saying that not being right is secondary. No, I'm saying that people already make some mistake. But let us love the people first, then we understand what mistake. Then we correct the mistake. Then correction comes second. I always say that, we have to be gracious. We have to love the people. Then only we make the correction. But I'm not saying that making things right is secondary. Yeah. This is what I tell my team. Don't manipulate me. Do you think that I'm very, very, gracious and very soft
nice,
in my heart? Very nice. I say no. That is because, I am a human being. In my life, I also make a lot of mistakes. When I make mistake, I want people to forgive me and give me a chance, right? So same thing. How I want people to treat me, I treat it back to to people. The same thing, right? The same value that I uphold. So I don't think there is a weakness, but to them, they always say there is a weakness.
I think that's a strength. That's not really
to me, I say, no, it's not secondary. Please don't make, no.
No,
It's wrong to think that.
misunderstand.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And who are you grateful for?
I'm very grateful for people who give me opportunities. I'm very grateful for our customers who give us the trust. Sometimes we fail them, but even we fail them, we will come back to prove ourselves. We actually do a lot of studies, we do a lot of testing, and we make a lot of effort to justify ourselves, and they still trust us. So I am very grateful for people who give us the opportunity, people who extended their trust to us despite seeing, some of the mistakes that we made. I'm very thankful for that, because I think it's not easy. It's not easy for people to give you opportunities. It's not easy for people to give you, allow you for second chance. So that I actually, very grateful. If not the second chance, I think I wouldn't be here today. Yeah.
Okay. Because the other thing I wanted to mention also is Berjayapak has won numerous awards in the last couple of years, and you brought the company from the red into the black, and so all this must be something also a huge, I would say, it's a huge achievement and milestone, not only for the company but also for you as a person, right? Because I don't think it has been an easy journey. I don't think it has been a calm journey.
No.
It probably has been filled with lots of ups and downs.
Yes.
So through that, so you've learned a lot about yourself. So I think it's a good story to tell others. Despite your fears, you managed to turn the company around.
One thing I need to say is when you are in a leading role, it is very important you gel your team together. It is the team that give me the courage. It is the team that criticize me and make me wake up. It is the team also hold my hand. When we always say the CEO holding the fork, holding the team, right? Actually, when we hold that team, when we hold the hand of others, actually opposite direction is they hold us back, you see. I have a very great team. I have a very great GM. I have a very great sales admin manager. I have a very great sales team. I have a very great QA manager and a QA team, who these, establish a lot of processes to counter the problem that we are having with the raw materials, with the design, things like that. So I would say it's a team effort. We have grown from SME top 100 fast-moving company, to numerous awards. Even we won the Lean Champion under MTIB. So the whole merit, I would say, that is the people, is the spirit in the company that make us, achieve from one height to another height.
Okay, now that we've talked about the business, I want to talk about some of you, a little bit more about you. I want to ask you some of what are your favorites, like what is your favorite book or books?
I like cookbooks.
Okay, well, you can read cookbooks. It's okay.
I have a lot of cookbooks, more than other books, Incidentally, behind me is my bookshelf. I have a lot of what do you call that? Motivation, books. Biography, I have a few. I like real story like Nick Vujicic. I like who else? Let me look. Mitch Albom, all those, yeah. So my great leadership mentor is actually John Maxwell, which I follow very early in year 2000 until now. Yeah, so those are the books that I read. Yeah.
Favorite movie?
I don't actually have favorite one. As long as it has a good team to inspire me, like Schindler's List, to inspire me to do the right thing. I see courageous in that. those are movies that I would like. But I it's very hard for me to tell you which one I like. I can tell you what I don't like the movie.
Okay.
I don't like UFO. I don't like the scientific because it doesn't speak to me. Then I fall asleep.
How about movies about cooks or chefs or famous people?
I pay attention all the time from beginning until the end. Then I'll write down the technique like I learn and things like that. Yeah, that never failed.
Okay, then can I ask you what's your favorite song? You should say you don't have this so many favorite.
I don't have very, as long as it's uplifting, I love uplifting beats. So because it will lighten the mood. Yeah, I love hymns. I love, I don't have particular, but if you ask me singer, I have a few singers that I like, So
such as?
Yeah, as long as the song is nice, I like it. As long as the food is good, I like it.
Okay, so then I cannot ask you about your favorite food, as soon as you say, as soon as
yeah, as long as it's delicious, I like it. Like pasta, rice, bread, curry. I love all.
Okay, how about favorite compliment?
Okay, I'm being helpful. I like it when people say that I'm being helpful. Sometimes being helpful, it speaks a lot, of my attitude. Sometimes it's not so much of what I do. Sometimes it's just being there, present, my presence be there, and without talking, that if that help that person, then I feel I'm very grateful for that. I still have value when I can help people. Yeah.
Okay. Now we have come to the final question. What's that one key takeaway or lesson for those who are listening to your interview today?
I would say the two key things is, again, I will go back. Handle your fear. I really learned a lot because in life, fear doesn't just, you learn it, then it's gone, then you won't feel, face the fear again. Fear come in different stages of life, in different things that you're handling, like facing cancer is also another fear, right? So I would say that, handle fear by understanding the risks and constraints, have clear mindset and the purpose and objective, and take progressive action and measurement, and have a realistic expectation, right? So the other thing I want people to take away is that do not take yourself too seriously. Little mistake will blow over. Even big mistake, try to find things manage, humble yourself down, put down your ego and manage. When all the mistake blown away, always have fun. Always have tons of fun in your journey of learning and building up people. I think that is the key thing that you can go for a long, long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting insights from your journey as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as well as a woman, right? So thank you so much. But before we end, where can people find you online if they want to get in touch with you, find out more about you or your company? Where can they go?
I have a LinkedIn account. They can get in touch with me via LinkedIn. Yeah.
And of course, also your website that we will...
Yes, my website, yeah. You can call the company's phone number. If you want to talk to me, if I'm in the company, they will connect you to me.
Okay. So thank you so much. I had a good time listening to you.
Thank you for having me here.
So thank you so much for sharing your story. I think more people should listen to this story, so at least they would know that it's not an easy job being a CEO. Sounds very glamorous, but it's not an easy job.
No. And the expectations, yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much once more, and hopefully we'll talk again.
Thank you, Krista. Have a good time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Find all the details on our website, womenpreneurasia.com. If you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. If you are already subscribed, please rate and review our podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. In next week's episode 11, I'll be speaking to Rina Neo, a Malaysian who started out as a computer science graduate but is now an angel investor, entrepreneur, mentor, and sits on various boards in the region. She also invests in multiple businesses across Malaysia, Singapore, and the Philippines. If you want to find out more how she did what she did, be sure to listen to our next episode.